how the world see the legitimacy of depopulating a nation and or displacing them from their homelands, and what does this mean for the whole world, even if this is what the Americans see as a victory for for Israel. Let me get back to you, Dr. Osman. Let me go back here to Dr. Boudin. And international humanitarian law prohibits the use of starvation as a method of warfare. Are the conditions in Gaza, especially after the killing of 1,000 people who were shot while seeking aid, do they make any sufficient grounds for war crimes proceedings?
Of course. I mean, this is an established fact today. We have enough evidence to qualify what the Israeli army is doing in Gaza by using starvation in a method and an organization and a planification as a intentional crime, and this is a war crime, and this organized, it's planned, the goals are clear. So when we see also what Netanyahu is doing in south part of Lebanon, they wanted to occupy south part of Lebanon, like he's occupying the Golan Heights now for decades, and what is he doing in the West Bank? So this is a plan, and all this must be put on the table of the negotiations. But it's a very important for the Gaza population, for the Palestinian population, that Hamas will take its will be conscious to free these hostages.
Hamas. But sir, here when we speak about the hostages or the detainees, we're speaking here about a tool they think they are having with them, or a weapon they are having in order to have a ground for negotiations. Or what do you think would they have?
Well, Hamas is thinking that they are using these detainees as or hostages as a weapon against Israel.
No, it's not against Israel, but rather for negotiations to continue. I mean here, what do they have in hand other than that?
Well, what they have, today they have started a war and they have used the wrong methods. They have used the fact that they take people, the civilians, as hostages is not accepted by international law. So they are on the wrong side of the behavings. So they must free these people, and they cannot use it as a weapon in the negotiations. In the same time, Israel, Netanyahu's cabinet, government, they cannot use the starvation as a weapon, but Hamas should make a quick move to free these civilians.
But then, what leverage would they have at that moment to negotiate?
They have the leverage. They have the leverage in the negotiations of the law, but they don't have a military leverage now after all what happened in these retaliation and the Israeli retaliations. They did not calculate in the right way what they have thought to do in the beginning. This is why it was a disaster. But now the party who is paying the heavy price of the disaster is the Palestinian population.
Definitely.
And for conclusions from that, and to take out this excuse from between brackets from Netanyahu's hands, and to free these hostages, and then the public opinion in the world will turn again, because Israel will not have any excuse to continue this starvation. Hamas, they want to also they want to have their security, and then the international community can organize for their security to be the physical security and to be organized. But these are the different questions that they are negotiating now. But these negotiations cannot take the Palestinian people as hostages of these negotiations. The negotiation must make secure the population, make secure their supply of food and health care, and so we can have a quick and negotiation, and we can come to a very quick result.
Ms. Osman, what do you have towards releasing detainees and the leverage Hamas would hold if they do so? And let me here ask you also about the U.S. envoy's presence in Rome. And is it being interpreted as a high-stakes move? Do you view this as a serious effort to secure a ceasefire, a merely public relation maneuver amidst rising global outrage? What do you think?
I think the Steve Witkoff and the Americans are attempting to secure a temporary ceasefire. I think they are serious about this. They are careful not to overpressure the Israelis or to make them seem as if they are as if their hand is being forced down to accommodate or submit to a ceasefire. Therefore, they are always lenient with them, giving them time to accomplish more battlefield achievements before actually agreeing to a ceasefire. However, that doesn't mean that the Americans are content with the continuation of the war. It is very bad from a PR perspective to an administration headed by a president who seeks to win the Nobel Prize and also who seeks to be seen as a peacemaker, not a warmonger. Whether, of course, this is the truth, the true state of the affairs is something to be discussed maybe at a later segment. However, I do believe that the Americans do want to see a ceasefire, and I think that we might be approaching a temporary ceasefire. However, that does not mean that we will witness a conclusive end to this war at this point. I don't think there are any indications that would support this assessment, and also that is even if the temporary truce takes place to begin with.
Then that brings me also to what you spoke about, or what you said about the depopulation of the nation or of Palestinians and the legitimacy of that before the international community at large.
It has absolutely no legal or moral standing. It is a crime against humanity, an act of ethnic cleansing, and given the context of Gaza with the mass extermination of tens of thousands of people and the destruction of the livelihoods, it is an act of genocide. And if the United States is, and it is, if they are actually engaging in supporting Israel in this endeavor, that means that they are complicit. However, the questions of legality and morality are no longer relevant in this world that has become consumed by a state of chaos and quasi-anarchy as of late. The idea of rule of law has evaporated, the integrity of the United Nations and international organizations in general, and the symbols of international law have been greatly diminished, if not completely evaporated, unfortunately. We are witnessing the fall of the international system as we know it, and so far it hasn't been replaced by an alternative system. So we have chaos. Whoever has the strength and the power will do as they wish, unless another equally powerful actor starts to resist or attempt to obstruct their actions, unfortunately. However, from a moral and a legal standpoint, this has no moral grounds or legal grounds. It is a crime. However, this being a crime will not prevent it from happening, unfortunately.
If I may ask you spoke about the international law, you spoke about sticking to laws. However, we haven't seen much of those laws being respected by Israel or by its allies. So, if we speak here about the Rome talks, if the Rome talks result in a limited truce without withdrawing from Gaza, would that violate the humanitarian principles enshrined in the international law?
Yes, and I believe that now we have states and nations around the world should go back to the International Court of Justice and ask another advisory opinion on this matter of deportation of the population, of this making starve the whole population, and the national law.
But you're saying here, Dr. Boudin, advisory.
Yeah, but advisory is the jurisprudence of the International Court of Justice and is compulsory. When we see that this morning the International Court of Justice has issued an advisory opinion, which is historical about the climate change, that is part of human rights, and that this is a turning point. International Court of Justice is
not a turning point, anything.
Yeah, it's a very important institution in the world, and we have to continue to go there. And it's very important to submit requests. If we don't submit requests, we'll have no decisions. We'll have nothing. So we have to go
yes,
there.
But here we have to ask ourselves also, what was the result of the first judgment that occurred?
I just want to comment really quick.
Yes,
Mona.
please do.
Dr. Boudin said, of course, the ICJ is a very important institution. Its advisory opinions are respected and considered sources of international law. However, if memory serves me right, and I think Dr. Boudin remembers that as well as you, Mona, and all of our colleagues at Q and everywhere around the world, the ICJ, there is a case before the ICJ against Israel for the potential violation or allegations of violation of the Genocide Convention. And it did issue it ordered Israel to carry out some measures, not an advisory opinion. It was a judicial decree that they should undertake certain measures to prevent genocide. And what was Israel's response? They did not give any attention or any respect to the decision of the court. They told the judges in The Hague, go find the best wall in your court and bash your head into it, because we will not carry out your measures. We are not carrying out genocide, and we do not care who you are. The United States even hinted, there were reports that when Trump came back to office, that the US might consider withdrawing from the ICJ, which would be a catastrophic precedent, because the ICJ is one of the principal organs of the United Nations since its inception. So unfortunately, even though these institutions are respected and do have a great deal of integrity, countries like the United States and Israel and others are preventing them from being viable and effective, and will stand in their way. We had a very important advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice with regards to the wall, the separation wall in the West Bank and the building of settlements. Right. It was historic. It was back in 2004. Did it prevent anything? The answer.
Right. Let me go quickly to Dr. Boudin if you want to add something, but quickly or briefly, because we're out of time.
It's a fact that Israel doesn't obey to international to the ICJ decisions, but these decisions are very important to construct the rights world. And even if Israel doesn't obey now, it will obey in a day,
one day,
one day or another. So we have to keep on. The fact now is that the nations did not find or did not seek how to execute this, how to go to before the Security Council, and there are ways to go before the Security Council. Until today, the Security Council never refused to execute a decision of the International Court of Justice.